Good morning. This is Glenn Yost, running for the New York State Assembly here in the South Shore. I'm here to talk about the opioid epidemic and my five-point plan to put an end to this here in Staten Island. We've lost over 35 young people to date this year alone from drug overdosing, and it's about time that we really start to take a better look at this, not just from one aspect, but from my point of view, that there are many elements that need to take place at once, working together, and it should start taking place soon. So firstly, let me say that as a retired first grade detective in the New York City Police Department, I know about drugs. I know about them because I was an undercover. On a street level, I made well over 500 buy and bust arrests. I was also in a major case team where I was a deep undercover. So I purchased heroin, I purchased cocaine, I purchased pills. I know what it's like to be in the street and to watch not only the drug dealers, but also the people who have these addiction problems. I've been in drug dens, I've seen people shoot up. There's no one here today standing in this race that knows more about this situation than I do. Secondly, I am an attorney here in Staten Island, so a lot of my clients have drug issues and drug problems, so I understand their rehabilitation issues and what it takes for them to get healthy and better. So as far as the enforcement goes, one of the things that I would propose is better funding to provide a stronger narcotics-based unit here in Staten Island. And they're doing a wonderful job, it's just that they don't have the resources. So we could legislate law up in Albany to provide more funding specifically for a better narcotics, I should say a stronger narcotics division here, because those men and women are doing a great job. And I have to tell you, there aren't many people that want to volunteer to be an undercover. I'd like to also work with the district attorney's office when the drug cartels are broken down and the resources are located from the ill-gotten gains of drug dealers. We need to take that money under the RICO statute, which is a federal statute, and make sure that that money stays here in Staten Island to implement and to fund the first thing I was talking about, and that is law enforcement. We need to do that. We really need to address rehabilitation. I spoke about that with some of my clients, and I can tell you it is a very tough journey for people that are addicted to any substance, and alcohol even. So what I propose to do as a state legislator is to make sure that the insurance company provide longer stays at rehabilitation facilities. Currently, the insurance companies provide 10 to 15 days at a rehabilitation center. Many experts will tell you that is just absolutely unacceptable. Also, I want to make sure that we provide our young people with education. We need to start that at a very early age. It starts in the home. It starts with the violence in the home. It starts with not getting up for school, failing in school, stealing from your family, stealing from loved ones, breaking into cars, breaking into someone's home. That's not the life that people thought about when they were younger. For whatever reason, they started going down this road of destruction. They're either going to wind up dead or in jail. So we need to address that early on, and I would love to provide better funding for counselors in the school, because a lot of teenagers, we just had a meeting with about 5 teenagers in my campaign headquarters a few weeks ago. A lot of them told me something very enlightening, and that was, we would like to speak to someone other than our parents. We want to be able to trust someone that we can talk to about our issues, or if we know someone that's running down that road right away, and for whatever reason, they don't want to talk to their parents about it because they feel like they'll embarrass their families or whatever. So that is a big part of this, to provide mental health counselors in schools. We also need to address on a federal level, and I like to work with our congressman on that, is to really go after some of the pharmaceutical companies. They should start telling us what's in these drugs and their addictive qualities. And also, the prescriptions that are provided by doctors need to be lessened. And that is a study that just came out, I believe it was the Borough President's Office that conducted the study, whereby instead of a doctor prescribing 30 pills for a patient, they could prescribe 10 and then revisit the patient. And also, Senator Lanza has already worked on this, but that universal database system that we have currently for pharmacies, so we can understand what the pharmaceutical companies are doing and the prescriptions that are going out there and the doctors that are prescribing. So the 5-point plan, again, is known as C.O.R.E.E, C-O-R-E-E. That's coordination, oversight, rehabilitation, education, and of course enforcement.
You know, Glenn's not the first politician that's asked me to speak for him, but he is the first person running for office that I have agreed to speak for. And mainly because he has an understanding, he has a real full understanding of the problem. His plan is the only plan out there that's cohesive. Everybody wants to do something, wants to throw money at it, but Glenn Yost is the only person that has a cohesive plan of how to approach this from the early ages. We talked about the 38 people that have died, and that doesn't touch on the tens of thousands of families that are ravaged by this disease. And this plan, Glenn's plan, will approach helping that problem. I've known Glenn for many years, and I trust that he will, because of his deep understanding of this issue, that he can get this job done. He's the only man for this job. Thanks for giving me this opportunity.
Okay. Well, I have a candlelight vigil every year in honor of the loved ones that have been lost to overdose. My son died 4 years ago, and all the things that Mr. Yost is talking about, it makes so much sense to me, and I hope it works because it's not getting any better. The numbers then were so little compared to what they are now, and not many people aren't paying attention to the numbers, and I hope that when they see the people that come to the candlelight vigil, that they'll see the people that are suffering, and that's what will make a difference, I hope. So all of us together working on this problem, one day maybe we can get this solved, because it's got to stop. We just lost another one yesterday, so it's getting to the point where everybody's numb.
I'm Barry C.O.R.E.E. Candace is actually my mother, and my brother Jonathan, he died of a drug overdose years ago. Me myself also, I have 8 years sober, so I know.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I know, basically every aspect of drug use, and what an overdose is, what it looks like. It's not pretty. It doesn't start out. I think what I love about Glenn Yost's plan is basically, the best part is the before care. It's not just about, you don't sit there and wait till a person dies to realize that they had a problem with alcohol and drugs. And this is not the kind of problem that when somebody first starts using, that they are an alcoholic or they are a drug addict. I was using myself for about 18 years. It's not like it was that bad in the beginning. In the beginning, it was just normal using. It started just having a couple drinks, then it started progressing to maybe a little bit of pot, and then it kind of just takes over from there, and it just grabs a hold of you. I think the biggest thing Staten Island really has to do, and we got to remove this stigma. You're not a bad person because you have a problem with alcohol. You're not a bad person because you have a problem with drugs. I know firsthand what it's like and what this stuff does and how it just grabs a hold of you. And I think the education should not start when somebody already has the problem. My son's 9 years old. I've already started talking to him about drugs. I've already started, he knew my brother that died. He didn't know him that long, but he did know him. And I talked to him and I explained to him, how Jonathan died, how your uncle died. And just really try to give him a little bit of an education now, and it's something I'll continue to do, because I'm not going to wait till there's a problem to start, speaking to him about the effects of alcohol, the effects of drug, and how it's going to kill you, if you let it. So
I was no angel all my life. Drugs and alcohol played a big part in my life, but the opioid epidemic, that's the problem. Back in '97, I got into a truck accident, and I got prescribed opiates. I was on it for 4 years, OxyContin, and I remember through the years, it took its toll on me. I hibernated everywhere. Then I finally got off of it when I got better, and I was a little ball on the couch for a long time. So I beat it back then. But back in 2014, I got into another accident and got hooked up on Percocets. And it was all prescription medication, but still, it took its toll on me. And I'm lucky to be alive today. I could overdose many times, but anyway, this past April 16th, my daughter's mother died of opiates, chronic use. She was 112 pounds when I met her. She weighed in before I seen her before she left, 187 pounds. It took a toll on his body, it destroyed her, and she died from it. So if I can help in any way possible, any kids of today, anybody that needs help in fighting the addiction, I have the tools.